one thing we have figured out is Enrico Suave, as we used to call him, Enrico Schaefer from Travers Legal has joined us again, and we've had him on the show for gosh, I don't know, a long time, right? 10 years or so, I guess.
Yeah. How long have we been doing this now? Are we coming up on a 10th anniversary or?
Well, we did
It's
it audio for a long time, and now we're video, so
Yeah.
it's been a few years. So, and Enrico is a technology attorney, and we've watched him shift from hot topics to hot topics over the years. And now it's artificial intelligence. He was telling me, I was asking him, what are you into these days last week? He's the AI guy. So let's talk a little bit about Travers Legal and what you're doing with AI.
Yeah, so AI obviously is the latest new and emerging technology, and obviously one of the biggest things that has hit the technology stage since essentially the internet itself. So we, of course, at Travis Legal are providing representation to clients in the AI space, but the issues that people are dealing with really start from the ground up. It's like, what's my employee manual? What's my acceptable use policy for AI internally? How do I make sure that my confidential and proprietary information of my company isn't getting fed into a database, which is going to be used to train an AI system and get spit back out to my competitors, right? What of the thousands or tens of thousands of AI tools that are out there, which ones are approved by the company? And then, of course, for the AI companies, they've got all the classic, startup legal issues from becoming a corporation, partnership agreements, IP identification and protection, all of that stuff. So we are full in on that. I'll tell you the more interesting piece, though, which is I get contacted by a lot of people who are trying to leverage AI to be better at whatever it is that they do. And I use AI tools all day long, so I have a very high level experience with using the latest and greatest AI tools.
Matthew?
Interesting. All right. So tell us a little bit about how you happened to get into, this part of the law. I know we used to talk to you about drone law. We used to talk to you about a lot of other things. What led you to this?
So we've always been new and emerging technology is our niche within the law. So we're always representing new and emerging technology companies. So anytime there's a new and emerging technology, whether it's blockchain or unmanned aerial vehicles or software as a service, or back to the days of the internet. So I was doing new and emerging technology when the internet came on the scene. So we take pride in understanding the back end of the technology, how the technology works, and the unique legal issues for that technology. And so not only can we do the legal part, but we also understand what our clients are talking about, what it is they're doing, and what specific challenges are being presented by that technology in the legal sphere.
Let's explore that topic. What are those challenges?
So AI is interesting, and I'm sure you've read some of them. And the hot ones are certainly data privacy, and making sure that you're, if you're an AI company, are you making the appropriate disclosures? Are you complying with GDPR, CCPA, these privacy statutes, and the many other privacy statutes that are being enacted at a state level? Are you complying with the data privacy aspects with the large language model, the AI system that you're using? And honestly, it's incredibly challenging for these companies to comply with GDPR, the European privacy standard, which is at the very highest level, because the technology isn't really suited to knowing where your data lives, being able to audit and tell each person where their data is being used, and to be able to delete data from an AI platform may or may not even be possible. So you've got privacy. Then you've got copyright. Is generative art, these tools that you can just say, hey, I want you to create a photorealistic drawing of the very famous and infamous personality, Mike Brennan. And I want you to put him in a cowboy hat, and these AI tools will generate that image.
I think it's more like notorious, but go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, it'd be notorious, right? You're probably a cowboy hat with guns coming out, but it is that art, is that media that's created subject to copyright. And currently in the United States, the answer is probably not. Generative art and AI system is not an AI system created art. It's not human created. So in the US, copyright requires that a human create the particular work, and doesn't happen in AI. So what's going on with all this AI generated art, this AI generated text? If it's not copyrightable, can it be protected in any way? And the other side of the copyright issue is perhaps the biggest one that you've seen, which is ChatGPT by OpenAI, ChatGPT being the most famous and the AI technology which changed the world. Its chatbot was trained on a data set that included the entire internet. Well, they didn't have any licenses to use that data, any copyright permission to use that data to train their models. So is that fair use? Is it transformative use, or is it copyright infringement for these models to simply ingest publicly available data in order to teach their AI, in order to do the amazing things that it can do?
I was wondering about that because it seems like it just hoovers up essentially all online content, blogs, news, all sorts of things, to get the stuff that it spits back at you, rearranged and repackaged. And I was wondering, you know, content is not produced for free. And, I mean, I'm just wondering, what the law is on that. So what's the state of that law right now?
The state of that law is that lawyers win once again because there is no answer, which means we're going to fight about it for the next decade, hired by paying clients. But generally, the issues are, okay, so MITech News, great resource, great news, Michigan focused, tech focused. You guys must have tens of thousands of articles on MITech News. That was ingested by ChatGPT in order to create that chatbot. Okay. No one called you and asked for permission to use your content commercially, because they're making a lot of money off of their chatbot. So is that copyright infringement? And on the copyright, owner's side, it's like, yeah, if you were to take my content to do something with it, you're going to have to pay a royalty for that. That's copyright infringement. From ChatGPT's point of view, they have two general arguments. The more general argument is, but we can't create these AI models without doing that. That's not really a copyright defense. That's a public policy kind of, we really need to be able to do this in order to improve the experience for all of mankind using AI. The legal defenses are more along the lines of, yeah, but we don't spit that content back out similarly enough that it would create infringement claims, meaning that they transformed your work, your content, into something that's enough novel, enough new that it's its own thing and it's not infringement. The problem with that is some of these early systems were spitting out photographs with the watermarks still intact, right? So maybe they weren't quite so dissimilar.
Yeah, getting back to your, I have 54,000 stories in my database, by the way, but I hadn't thought of that. They could just go in and harvest them whenever they wanted to, right?
They can, as long as they've got access to the internet. And keep in mind, ChatGPT, the brilliance of ChatGPT and what OpenAI was able to accomplish is that no one was able to crack the AI nut. And even the people at the very top of the industry thought we were at least 15, 30 years away from the AI that ChatGPT turned out to be. And what they did is, everyone was working with these smaller data sets. OpenAI just made the biggest, craziest data set ever imagined. And then they trained on that, and it turned out that worked, right? So they have this crazy, and a lot of the internet information is garbage, but they trained on that as well. And if you look at some of the responses that ChatGPT spits out, they're, for the most part, amazing, and their expertise is amazing, and the fact that they can create language around your question is amazing. It's astounding. So they were able to do that using large language. What's happening now in AI is it's like, okay, if ChatGPT can do such magic with the junk data that is the internet by and large, right? What if we were to take all of the information in the world about cancer, all the cancer research, all the studies, and create a data set that was just that, and then train an AI model on that? Can you imagine the possibilities? And that's what's happening. It's taking now this LLM model that has worked and trying to repurpose it on very specific niche data to create exponential expertise.
The other issue initially with Chat GPT, which I think is now either 4 or 5, whatever version's out now, is initially it made up a lot of stuff. And so for news folks like Matt and I, you had to really go back in and verify all that stuff. And it really slowed you down to the point where you're questioning, why am I using this if I don't trust it, right? So
Yeah.
hopefully it's gotten a lot better now. Yes? No?
I mean, there's some people who say it was better earlier than it is now, but the reality is that there are hallucinations that come from the AI, but they're really on the margins. And depending on the type of information that you're looking for, it can either hallucinate or not. So if you know what kind of questions to ask it, chances are you're going to get spot on responses that are extremely accurate. The other thing is, if you ever, what did we do before ChatGPT? Well, we did Google searches. Well, how accurate are all those results that come back on a Google search, right? I mean, AI is exponentially better than that most of the time, but you do have to check your source. It's definitely a great assistant, but it's not replacing anyone yet, because you're using it in a way to assist what you're doing by way of research, to understand concepts, to understand how you might package a story in your business, right? And then you're doing the heavy lifting on the back end of that. So I always tell people, you need to really think and talk to your AI as though it was a real person assistant who doesn't always get it right, who doesn't always follow instructions, right? But better to have an assistant than not.
Speaking of assistants, I just published a story today that I picked up that there's in Salem, Oregon, they have a humanoid robotics factory that's going to churn out 10,000 robots a month. And it reminds me of the movie I, Robot. Everybody's going to have their personal robot who has AI intelligence. Is that good or bad? So.
Yeah, and it's bad if you can't tell whether or not I'm talking to Matt Roush, real Matt Roush, or in this image on this video, is that really an avatar of Matt Roush? And so, like, they're making systems that will allow you to be able to verify that you are in fact a human, right? If you can believe it, right? So that
we question that all the time about Matt,
human.
but he is indeed a human. So
Well, could I pass a Turing test? That's the real question.
That is the real question.
All right. So how do folks connect with you at Travers Legal?
So you can always find me by just doing a Google search of Enrico Schaefer, or go to traverslegal.com and you can find me there. But I've got lots of results that come back on any sort of Google search. So I'm really easy to find. If you just do Enrico Attorney AI, you're going to hit me as the #1 result.
Okay.